What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Believe in Rams, presented by FanDuel. Erin Coscarelli back with you with my Super Bowl champion tackle, Rob Havenstein. Before we introduce our guest, Rob, a very special guest we have today, I did want to make a quick mention what I saw FanDuel post this recently. This season's comeback player of the year has, drum roll please, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is on the list at plus 1,400. And oh boy, I don't know what that means, but I think it means it could be a very fun season here in Los Angeles. I grew up in LA, so I have a lot of LA pride. But Rob, should we welcome in our good buddy? We reference him all the time on the show. We both look up to him, me literally. Rams' Super Bowl champion tackle, Amazon's my favorite personality on Amazon's Thursday Night Football analyst. I might be biased. Andrew Whitworth. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
What's going on, everybody?
I haven't heard something from you, Andrew, in a long time, Big Whit.
I was about to say, this sounds kind of like the meeting when we came back from summer one year, and Sean and I obviously were really close, and I forget he calls me Andrew, and I think the whole room just like looked around like, who is Andrew? Like, who's he talking to? Every now and then. Yeah,
got it. Idea. Is the only person that calls you Andrew is your mom?
You know what's wild? This is actually, I've said this before. It's actually true, though. For whatever reason, I think it's something to do with like men versus women. It's like that thing. Most guys call me Whit or Big Whit, and most women call me Andrew. Like, I don't know what that is. It's like, that motherly, like I'm going to call you by your rightful name.
Yeah. That's right.
For whatever reason, most ladies call me Andrew and most guys call me Whit. I don't know why that is.
That's interesting.
And I've never said I prefer either. I'm not like, Matthew obviously has the Matt and the Matthew thing. I don't have a preference. My only preference, I guess, is do not call me Andy. You call me Andy, we might have an issue.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not an Andy. I just don't fit the Andy profile.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you don't. No, and no one wants to make Andrew upset.
I think it's because like this is how old I am. You used to have the light switch, the little wooden thing over your light switch in your like kids' room, and I think it said Andy when I was little. And so like ever since I was like, I'm not a little kid, don't call me Andy. You know what I'm saying?
So this is rooted in. This is a childhood thing. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's ingrained deep in there.
Yeah.
I kind of had something similar. I was always Robbie, Robby, my whole high school, besides, Big Rob. And then once I left high school, I was like, I'm just going to start introducing myself as Rob. And so I went there. So you hear anyone call me Robbie, they're from back home in Maryland.
Ooh.
Although my mom did try to call me Big Rob one time, and I said, wait.
No, that's not going to work. Mom, like my mom called me Whit. That'd be a problem. I think that'd be weird.
No, doesn't sound
You're
right.
definitely, you're in trouble. What about Bob? Rob, you never decided to go by Bob?
No Bobs.
Bob is the Andy. Andy for me.
I was curious when you said this, when you became Big Rob, though. Like, what weight or size made you Big Rob? That's what I want to know.
Anyway, so I was 275 freshman year of high school football, and then up until my freshman year of college, I don't know. I just know my freshman year of college, I was 380. So anywhere from 275 to 380 was the adaptation of Big Rob.
I love it.
Wait, does McVay go? Does he call you guys like Big Whit or Big Rob or no? Yeah, he does.
Right.
Oh, okay. Didn't know if he had like his own special language.
No. Well, yeah, except for when he would mess up and call me Andrew. Other than that, he would call me Whit. So
got it.
And he would only do that. He would call me Andrew, and then he'd realize the whole room was like, ugh, like that wasn't. So then he'd flip to Whit quickly. But.
Got it. Good to know. All right, that's good to know. Well, listen, I don't know, Big Whit, if you've heard what's happening with the Rams lately, but they did trade for a pretty big name. And I do recall 11 months ago or so, you made an appearance on the Rich Eisen show, actually. And I think you were talking about a tweet. And literally the title of the YouTube clip is literally Aaron Donald and Andrew Whitworth would both unretire if Rams traded for Micah Parsons. Well, I did want to let you know that the Rams traded for Myles Garrett.
Right.
I'm not sure if that maybe even moves the needle even more, but when are you going to start? When are you going to suit up? Just want to let you
Well, you know
know what to
what's
do.
convenient about that is this is the end of my 5 years, so my health insurance expires after this season.
Go.
So I'll tell you what, I would come back with AD only if they have a position where I could be on the roster and just literally hold the water for him when he comes off the field, because I do need to get another year in so that I can get my insurance. So health
Fair.
insurance is a big
Okay.
deal when you got all the kids I have. So I would say that it would be a huge benefit if I could get, 1 year, one more year under the belt. I don't want
Yeah.
to Philip Rivers it. I don't actually want to play.
Oh,
I would unless they need like a goal line tight end maybe,
I
but
was going to say you
that's
did
about
mention
all I got.
you did mention tight end on that clip, and before
I could see that. I could see
I
that.
moved out of California, you were on your way down to around the 260,
Yeah, I mean, listen, a
255.
lot of 13 personnel these days. So I mean,
That
they need it.
Collecting tight ends.
Hey, listen, Sean, he's fought it for a lot of years, this
Oh,
11 BS, all these little dudes on the field, but last year he finally started putting more big fellas out there because I consider tight ends half and half. They're part big fella.
mhm.
So, maybe this is the year he moves to some true jumbo and we see like some good goal line. So if he needs a goal line tight end, you know what I mean? I am one
call
for
you.
one. I have
Yeah.
gone out once in my career and I caught a touchdown pass. So I'm
You
just
did.
saying, all you can
100%.
be is 100% in the red zone. So,
I mean,
listen, I'm ready.
this makes perfect sense. I think we'll give Sean a buzz and we'll let him know you
Okay.
want to play. But no, I mean, what the actual story or the moment is, Myles Garrett is
Yep.
now in LA. And now you're hearing, I mean, we don't even have time. And it's so much to talk about with the Rams and like how lucky are we that we get Andrew Whitworth on the show. But Myles Garrett, and now the rumor mills are circulating. Myles Garrett posted an actual Aaron Donald jersey on his Instagram. I mean, come on, Andrew, tell us what's happening. When is he coming?
Well, I mean, listen, I've tried. I've texted him multiple times throughout the summer. I'm on that list of guys encouraging him. I've said this before, and it's not pressure to him, but I'll say it this way: if I was his age, there's no question I'd be coming back. I'm 10 years his senior, so maybe 11. But yeah, I think it's interesting. You look at it this offseason when I was talking about this the other day, is what's funny about this team is, you forget some of the other moves in the offseason just
Mm-hmm.
because of how big of news Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald. I mean, I think of the two corners is a
Mhm.
big a thing as
Mm-hmm.
anything. You look last year, really on that defense, one of the cheapest defenses in the NFL, and really, all year you're thinking, man, what game is this going to be a problem in the secondary when we really got to cover one on one and it's into the game, got to make a play, are we a lead out there in those big moments? And then you go in the offseason and you say, hey, let's fix that. And they do a tremendous job of doing that. So I think, I think of Trent McDuffie already, the kind of what I've heard from the building, the leader he is, the human being he is. I just think that impact with him and Jaylen, those corners, like that's going to be a massive deal itself. And then now, when you talk about O line play and you talk about defense and both sides and D line, a lot of times you talk about protection and how it relates to the ability of a quarterback to throw the football down the field and the whole offense to work, right? On defense, it's about rush and coverage. And it's like, how do those two things marry? You have teams that make up for maybe secondary weakness by having great rush. You have teams that, they can cover all day, so their rushers have time to get there. Maybe they're not as good, as efficient to get to the quarterback. When you have both, you have an elite defense and you have one that's going to cause people a lot of trouble. And so I would imagine with Aaron Donald and Myles there, that's just going to put the Rams in a position where you're going to be really good at both. And then let's get past that and go, well, there's also a lot of other really good players that
I
already
know.
exist on that defensive line. And I think to me, I say this all the time, football, even though we don't make it that way, has developed into a lot like basketball. It's about situations. And can you handle situations? Do you have a guy who can shoot a three? Do you have a guy who can play in the paint? Do you have a guy who can dribble and penetrate? Like when you look at the Rams defense now and you think of, Puna and you think of Kobie and you think of some of the guys they have up front, you think of their safeties and how they like to play. Like I think of it as now they have guys for every style of game that you want to play. Like if you want to play a drop back football game, we got the guys. If you want to throw it, at a play action, we got guys in the interior that can win. We got a secondary that can cover for a long time. And if you want to run the football, Puna's been one of the best up front against that for a long, long time. And AD's a nightmare if you're going to one-on-one him in the run game. They're going to have guys for all of that as well. And so I think that's what's really going to make them special is they can play any style of defense that they need to stop somebody.
Now, speaking of style of defense, because Myles Garrett obviously comes from a 4-3 system.
Yeah.
How does that fit into the Rams 3-4 system? Is he going to be standing up? Is he going to have his choice of hand to the ground? Are we going to see a shift of the defense of the Rams? Just kind of what you're hearing around the rumor mill.
Yeah, I think when you really look at some of these teams that play 3-4, just depending on, I think it mattered more back in the day when it's probably my day of the old two-gap systems. And,
Sure.
You're really talking about ends who are lining head up to tackles and the nose is head up. And, the rusher's got to kind of play certain leverages and stuff. But now, a lot of times it's just whether they're lining up and under or over or whatever it may be. And, it's just a different looking, like, yeah, I like to stand up rather than put my hand down in edge rusher. And I think what they'll do is adjust their defense to making him the guy who's, rushing all the time. But shoot, if you've ever seen Myles Garrett move around, the guy's a freak athlete. So I don't think there's any chance that, listen, I would ever want him being the dropper. But, if he is, I have zero doubt the athletic human he is that he might catch one and take it to the house because I don't know if I've seen people that can move like him in my entire career at that size. So I think he'll have the ability to do both, but I think what they would basically do is make him kind of the guy who's going to rush in there for the majority of the time. And the cool thing with all the guys they have is they can do that a lot of creative ways. We can see him line up over the center. We can see him line up all over the place and be that rusher guy because he's so athletic. And he's not necessarily, I think it's different when you got a guy coming from the 4-3 that may be like a Brandon Graham, or some of these guys that you'd say, hey, I think him in a 3-point, 4-point stance is really the only way he's going to be effective. I think Myles is one of those guys, the athleticism he has, he can rush in any way he wants to. When he wants to put his hand down, he wants to stand up. You don't make human beings that look like him. He's an absolute alien.
That is such an accurate way to describe. That I was wondering, like, who in the NFL is the most potentially, because Donald hasn't officially come out, but I wonder, like, who would be the most upset by this news? Is it like opposing offensive linemen? Is it every NFC West opposing quarterback right now? Is it Sam Darnold? Is he losing a little sleep? Anyways, sorry, I just sometimes think about that. I'm like, wow, this is going to really...
Well, every left tackle in the NFC West is definitely not happy. I can assure you that.
No,
including Trent Williams, because it's just, here's the reality with linemen, Aaron. Like, most people are going to sit around and talk about what teams somebody's playing and like, oh man, this team's good at offense or defense or whatever. Linemen have already looked at every single game on their schedule, who it is they're going to have to face the majority. Because you got to think about our snaps. Like, if I'm playing left tackle and Myles Garrett is the right end on defense, 98% of the snaps, him and I are going to go against each other. Maybe a little less if, like, we're running to the right a lot and I'm cutting off the defensive tackle. But the majority of the plays in the game, I'm going to have to deal with that person. So, like, yeah, you care about the team aspect of it and you care about, like, who we're playing, but you really only care about who you are playing. And so those left tackles have definitely done the math. Like, all right, if I look at, I got to play this guy twice a year. Now I used to think of that guy as when you'd have those guys on your list, you're like, all right, I got to get through this week and play well. And then maybe I got a couple weeks where I play somebody that I'll be in good shape. But now I got to have twice in my season. I got to play Myles Garrett. That is not fun for anybody.
No, not fun at all. And then when you talk about Aaron, like an Aaron Donald coming back, Big Witt's the defensive coordinator. Say he signs on for the whole season. I don't think it's going to be the whole season, but that's for another story. In my hypothetical situation, are you matching Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett up on the same side? Or are you going opposite, trying to get one-on-ones for?
Yeah, I would imagine what they'll do is find ways to either twist them or keep them on opposite sides in a lot of those third down packages.
Right.
I think that'll be something they'll do, but it's just only the smart thing to do is not allow a team to take away, one side by sliding and chipping to that side. So I would imagine we will see, my guess, I actually think that we'll see Myles move around a little bit.
Yeah.
And the reason being is I think edge rushers you can have a plan for with chippers and way you can do those things. That's what always made AD so rare,
Yep.
is that interior rushers, it's really hard to have any plan for unless you can borrow the center. And so if you want to borrow the center, I could see them forcing teams to do that because the guard is usually your less better pass protector. So I think they're going to borrow the center to help on AD, and then that's going to give Myles the opportunity to move around and be that one-on-one matchup that I think that would cause a lot of problems. And like I said, the part of that we get lost in is that Fiske and Kobie Turner and all these and Byron Young, like these
Yeah.
guys can rush too. So
Yeah.
the reality is it means those guys are going to see the most one-on-ones they've ever seen in their life.
Yep.
And so I think that that's going to help everyone. I was in Cincinnati with Geno Atkins, and I watch him make a lot of guys' careers. They made a lot of money at edge rusher because people had to worry about Geno and being in LA. I watched AD make a lot of edge rushers a lot of money. And the reality is now with two of them, with Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett, if that happens, they're going to make some young guys a lot of money, and they should be very thankful that those two guys are there because you're going to be given the opportunity to go rush and win
That's right.
and make a lot of money for yourself. So you better donate something to the Aaron Donald
Yeah.
Foundation if
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah.
back,
Exactly.
because listen, that's how it works, baby.
Yeah. 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 I agree. It's funny. Kobie Turner talked about that at the press conference during OTAs. He was like, if that happened, that would be really good news for me. So, because it just makes everybody everything is going to go up, everything. Okay, we got to let Andrew go, but we can't let you go without just one quick question about the offensive line. Rob, do you want to take it?
Yep.
Go for it.
So obviously, I want to talk about this past this year. You've got 4 out of 5 guys going into contract years. Some young, some going into third, some trying to hit that big contract. I guess, where do you go with that? Where do you prioritize? Like, what do you project the Rams are going to do with that? Because you can't sign off all 4 guys to probably, hopefully, what they deserve after this season of, hopefully win everything like that. So it's like, how does one navigate, I guess, the business side of having 4 of your players up for an extension or a new contract?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the challenge. And I think really one of the reasons it's more challenging is you look at where they are with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback. I mean, and I don't mean this because of Matthew's age, but the reality is he's a true pocket quarterback, and he's truly somebody who's going to live in that pocket, outside of your occasional play action boot or something. Like even those are probably more half roll type world. And so I would say that makes it like, hey, how we're built and how we have to be built is we better be really good up front. I mean, you look at really the only year that they've struggled offensively with Matthew Stafford, there was a lot of injuries up front. I mean, that's just the truth. And so when that protection dropped, their offense dropped. And so I think to me, this is going to be a really tough puzzle to figure out because you have to have some young guys that you think are the future there. I think, inevitably there's good problems in
Yep.
the sense that, like I look at you, Rob, like you continued to play for so long and hold your position down that the reality is like some of these guys like a Warren McClendon haven't gotten to play until now. And so now all of a sudden it's like, just like when I left, is Joseph Noteboom. It's a very similar situation. And so now you're like, all right, it's a young kid, they're promising, but we really don't know who they are week in and week out, season in and season out. But they're going to have to get paid based off the way they play. And that's how
Yep.
it works. And I'm only going to have a limited menu of time to actually watch them play, but I got to make a decision. And so they're going to get paid that way. And so, it's good for the kid, it's good for the player. And then for the team, it's like, man, we kind of take a leap of faith and make sure, I hope this guy's a year in and year out guy, but we really don't know because they haven't had that kind of exposure. I always say this: an offensive line play, to me, exposure is the word that matters more than anything else. And when I look at offensive line play, what's your exposure level, when you're making these kind of decisions, and how much have they been exposed? Because I want to see those kind of guys go through all that stuff to know the most about them. So I think when I look at their decision, I would imagine you would lean interior because that matters a lot for a pocket quarterback, is making sure that the interior is well. I think you probably lean to what's the best absolute decision we can make there. And like in the Sean McVay, Shanahan, a lot of those offenses, you can find a lot of ways to try to help the edges a little bit and how they build their offense. So I think they probably lean interior, be my guess. And then probably try to figure it out on the outside,
Mm,
depending on how well those guys play and how much they can make sure they can be there for the future. Because I think to me, the offensive line in this Rams team, I thought last year, wasn't talked about enough. There wasn't a
mhm.
narrative enough of how well they played,
Mhm.
how great the group was all season long. And I don't say that just because you're here, but because to me, that really was the dictator of how good they were on offense, is the protection that they were able to create for Matthew Stafford,
Mhm.
and then the run game that they were able to build all that 13 personnel play action run game off of. You got to be able to block
Yeah,
people and you got to withstand blocks. So I
Mhm.
think to me,
yeah.
like, this group didn't get enough credit for how good of a season they had. And it's going to be real important to keep it together, as long as Matthew Stafford's your quarterback for sure.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent point. And I think what you said makes a lot of sense. It's a good problem to have. If this unit plays well, they're going to ask for more money. The Rams have the most expensive offense. Of course they would. Why wouldn't they? They have an MVP, reigning MVP. Like, why wouldn't they pay people that are performing the way they want them to perform? Of course they're going to, expect to get a paycheck. So it'll be an interesting. I'm just curious, like you mentioned, exposure. How
Here's
many
here's the
reps?
good news, Aaron. There's new stadiums coming on. There's lots of money that the
Mhm.
NFL is creating. So hey, listen, it doesn't just stop with the skill players and the old white beard quarterback. Or, well, not white. We'll call it gray. Matthew, sorry,
This is what.
gray beard quarterback. He's almost getting to the white like me, but it doesn't just stop with those guys. Okay, let's feed the big fellas. Their plate needs to
Yes.
get full too. So a
Yes.
lot of money being
Yes.
created in these
Yeah.
salary
Yeah.
caps. The Seahawks just got sold for over 3 billion more than expected. I mean, come on, like, there's money in the piggy
Yeah.
bank. So take
Yeah.
care of the big
That's right.
fellas.
That's right.
Let's
That's right.
get them taken care of because they deserve it.
Listen, you've had a really busy off season, similar to the Rams. But first things first, and I got to ask the hard hitting questions, Andrew. How was Taylor Swift's wedding?
It was wonderful. I was honored to be there. Melissa and I had a great time, and it was a great event. There you go. That's my two
Yep.
cents.
Okay.
Did
Fair.
Yeah.
you win any of the prizes?
If you know me well enough, do you think that I actually competed for any of the prizes?
Absolutely, yes. You
No
were
chance. I hid in the corner and just enjoyed people watching. That's what I like to
actually
do.
you would have been the second one up with your wife dragging you by the hand, saying, "Let's go do this."
Yeah, exactly. I just avoided Melissa the entire reception, so
Fair enough.
that was it.
I got some good, my friends went and they just said it was incredible. So we'll
Yeah.
leave it at that. Wish
It was
we could have
incredible,
been.
people. That's all you need to know. They were in
Yeah.
love. They had a wonderful
Yeah.
wedding, and it was incredible. All right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all anybody asked about any other damn wedding. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Fair enough.
Uh, you also were in Tahoe. Rob, did you
Yeah.
see that? Did you see that,
No,
Rob?
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. How was the tournament? For everyone who doesn't know, Big Wit is one of the better golfers to ever play on the Rams. Long game's long, short game is dialed. Putting, putting's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that last putt that went and won you the skills challenge, though. Showing off the
Come on,
big
baby.
guys, the soft hands. I appreciate that. How was the tournament? How was the weekend?
It was great. I mean, the event's unbelievable. I mean, the American Century does, I always say this. When you get to Lake Tahoe, I think the first thing I always say to myself is I forget how beautiful
Mhm.
that
Mm.
area is in South Lake Tahoe. It's just gorgeous. The golf course, everything, they do a great job. And then American Century, I mean, unbelievable sponsor of that event. I mean, really, from
Mm.
how much it's one of those funny things. It's like anything else, like how much it means to them to be there, how much they want it to be special, and it shows. And so, I know Mike McDonald, Kevin O'Connell, Robert Sala, some new coaches this year played in it. And I kind of boosted, like, I was at the owners' meetings and I was just telling them, like, you guys are going to love it, like, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, like, kind of getting to spend some time with them throughout the week, They loved every second of it. I realized how special it is. I call it adult summer camp, but it's long nights, going to the local mountain bars. There's a little casino there. Everybody runs around and hangs out at. And then the Edgewood Hotel is unbelievable, sitting out by the fire pit. So it's a fun, really special event to be a part of. I think it sums me up, though, Rob, as an offensive lineman, that kind of just me to a T is that OL Masterminds was going on in Dallas, Texas. And of course, I'm out on a golf course playing golf, representing the O lineman in the American Century Championship. It's still my claim to fame, the highest placing offensive lineman in American Century Championship history. Now, I don't know if there's been more than one play, but my point is that's still my claim to fame. So, I'm playing golf. The guys are studying sets and whatever else the hell they're looking at when they're at that thing. So, I think that sums me up to a T right there.
Well, shoot, Whit, you've been there, done that on taking sets and reaching 9 techniques. So, what more could you offer to the game, even more than what you're doing now? So I think you've enjoyed it. Play some golf, win some challenges, have a great time, man. One fun thing I saw, you guys, you had your boys on the bag.
Yeah, Drew, man. Drew got into golf in the last year. And we've always kind of joked about when he was old enough that I thought he could do it. And I was still nervous this year. I was like, Ryan Fitzpatrick's brothers come, and I was like reaching out to them because my caddy, unfortunately, was unable to be there. And so it was like, all right, one of them's going to do it if Drew can't. And I was a little nervous about it. And then I finally had to talk with Drew, and he's like, Dad, I got it. And so we did it. We had a blast. I couldn't have loved it more. Every bad shot. I would just go over and give him a hug and a kiss on the forehead, and I was like, man, what a special time to be here. It was a great perspective to have when you're in pressure and in a tournament and you're trying to hit all the shots you want. To have your son there who's just having a blast being there. He had a couple putts where he lined me up and I made them, and it meant the world to him. But I'll say this, I'll give him credit, y'all. You would understand this, Rob. So I had a moment in the tournament. I played really good on the first 2 days. Last day, not so much. It was like leaving day, and long night. So I go out on Saturday, though. I'm playing pretty well, but I haven't hit it as good off the tee as I did on Friday. And I hit a really bad tee shot on 13, and I end up with a double. So we get on 14 tee box, and it's a dog leg that the driver has to be dead accurate, or it can go in the water, or it can go in the woods to the right of the dog leg. And I back down to like a 5 wood, and I go to walk up to hit my ball. And he goes, Dad, stop. And I go, what? He goes, are you really going to back down now? And I was like, what? Like, what'd you just say to me, son? I mean, Drew just turned 15. And he's like, hit the big dog and don't be scared. And I was like, okay. I hit the driver. I hit it to like 90 yards out. It was like a 350-yard drive. I chip it close, make a par. I go birdie, birdie, par, par to end the round. My best round I've played there. And end up shooting 77 or 78 or something. And I told him that night at dinner when everyone was sitting around, I go, dude, I got to give Drew credit. He called me out. Like, he did his caddy job. Not just telling me distance. It was like, hey, don't back down. Let's go. Like, we're shooting our shot. Let's go get it. So I got to give Drew Man credit. He did a good job.
Oh, that's amazing.
I feel like that's you coming out in a younger version of him. It's amazing you listened to him, and also that you appreciated it and shared that. That's what you want to be when you get older. You want to actually feel safe and comfortable taking swings, taking chances. And before we jump off Tahoe and get into some Rams stuff, you did mention LSU at the end there, and Lane Kiffin, now the new head coach. He was our head coach at when I was at not when I was at USC, but a couple of years later. How do you feel about the new coach there at LSU? Feel good about that?
Yeah, I've had a chance to talk to him a few times. I'm on a little text thread with Brian Clark, Marcus Spears, Booger McFarland, Marcus Spears. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. And it's entertaining to say the least. He's a man. He is a passionate dude. He loves football. He loves recruiting. He loves wanting to be the best. And we have some fun with each other on there. But I sent him a text last week because Patrick Peterson and I, as Rob mentioned, we won the short game challenge, and so representing the Tigers, I sent him a text. I said, hey, this is just beginning of great things this year for LSU. It's our year, baby. We're just representing here in Tahoe. So I'm excited. They got some great kids there, a lot of talent, and they've definitely done an amazing job of bringing in a lot of good players. So hopefully that's going to lead to them having a lot of success. But as we know, the college football landscape's really different, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this now, because of some of these transfers and stuff, is going to be about your ability to gel all that together, and to bring all these kids from different places, recruits coming in, transfers, you name it, all get them
Yeah.
on the same page and go in the same direction. So I would imagine Lane, being around Nick Saban for quite a while, has some great ways to do that, and I know the influence Nick has had on him. So I'm excited for LSU football, and looking forward to hopefully us getting back where we belong, baby, back on top, where some of us put us. You know what I'm saying? In '03, when we won our first national championship in 50 years with Nick Saban.
Fair point.
No,
Fair
it's
Yeah,
great.
point. Well said. Well
people
said.
forget where the train started. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to remind them how when
That's
we
right.
turned onto that road. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
They
That's
they
right.
like living on. It's like last year. No, 2 years ago. I think Nick Saban was coming back, and people were like asking me, should LSU fans embrace Nick coming back with game day? I think it was a college game day, and I was like, only. I mean, yeah, no, if they're idiots, because maybe they just forgot that he came there, and this is how this entire thing started. The legacy he left there, the championship level players, winning a national championship, the recruits they had there. Les Miles took over. You go look at their first national championship under Les Miles. It's every single one of those kids is a Nick Saban recruit. So you just forget sometimes. I think we as fans we become fickle a little bit. We forget where it all started. Like there's don't like Alabama and Auburn. I'm all with it. I'm great with that. But let's not forget, maybe the people that got you where you are now. You know what I mean?
Ooh. I
And Nick
that
Saban's definitely that. So
yeah.
he was a special influence on that place, and why it is what it is.
Speaking on kind of that same ilk there, Big Wet, with saying LSU's coming back, it's a good year for you guys. Has LSU and the state of Louisiana forgiven you specifically for the 2018 no call?
Rob, what's great about that? My final round Sunday was with Drew
Mm-hmm.
Brees and Derek Carr. And at one point, Drew's standing on the tee box in Tahoe, and I'm thinking to myself, I know we're on NBC right now, but man, it would be really funny if I had a yellow flag right now that I could throw out of my pocket. Because it's like, I think probably for them, they try to forget about it and act like it never happened because they get so frustrated and upset. I think for us, it's kind of humorous because it's like we know it was a penalty too, but it didn't happen and it benefited us. So like, I'm not going to complain about it. But I do think it's kind of funny. So I get the chance to play with Sean Payton a lot too in the summers up in Idaho. So he
Mm-hmm.
brings it up. We talk about it sometimes. But with
No,
Drew the other day, it was funny you said that. I was literally sitting there and I was like, man, I should have worn like all yellow today, or like I had a yellow flag hanging out my pocket the whole time. But I should have thought this through better. But it's funny you bring that up. And no, they definitely don't forgive for that. So I still
yep.
get asked or talked to about
Oh, that's
that
so
play
funny.
every single time I cross the border and go home.
Yeah.
If you would have made Drew dress up like a referee and just start
Oh
dropping
my
yellow flags
gosh.
around,
He's so great. Missed opportunity, Rob. Missed
that,
opportunity.
Missed opportunity. We love Big Wit. Andrew, thank you so much for making the time. Of course, we're so excited to watch you on Amazon's Thursday Night Football. That's getting underway. I mean, we're like a month and a half away from.
Yeah. First game. Speaking of new stadiums, Highmark Stadium, baby. The Buffalo Bills home opener in their new stadium. So I can't wait. I can't imagine what kind of theatrics and craziness Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to get into in Buffalo in their home opener. So it ought to be interesting. Lions Bills. So a little,
mm,
little
yep.
Jared Goff, Josh Allen action. Ought to be a good one.
Ooh,
Good one to
that's
start.
huge.
I'll
And
be
That's
there
huge.
all week. Just
what I'm sure, all
crushing
the people
buffalo
are asking
wings.
Big Wet is the hoodie coming back? The hoodie suit.
Yeah. Oh no, the hoodie's coming back.
Okay.
The hoodie will definitely be there. Over the last couple of years, I like to just kind of work it in and out. I want to leave a little bit of the people
Yeah.
yearning. I want them to go,
That's
"Where's
right.
the hoodie at?" When you don't wear it.
Yes.
So the hoodie will be back. We got to find
Keep
some
us
new fresh styles with it, and we'll see what happens.
I love it. I love it. We're so lucky. Well, listen, what a great conversation to have before the season kicks off. Andrew Whitworth, we so appreciate your time. Thank you for going over with us. But I mean, you had to because it's Rob Havenstein. I mean, this is why
Anytime,
we
man.
have him.
I'm here for as long as you guys need me. Let's go.
Oh, you're the best. All right. Andrew Whitworth, Rob Havenstein, I'm Erin Coscarelli. Thanks, guys.